Oh my. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
A few more folks joining.
Everyone. Let's get started, maybe introducing ourselves. In the chat, we're going to share, as you're able to or as you'd like to, your name, where you work or where you go to school, and fun fact, your favorite ice cream. This is a small enough group that if folks want to unmute and do that verbally, I think that's fine too.
Okay, go ahead, Nora.
I'm right here.
Yeah, you can talk. Hello, my name is Nora. Nora, habla. Habla, what's your name?
Nora?
Okay, pero habla para ahí. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Lena.
I'm Lana.
Hi, Lana. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Dad.
All right, we are already getting some favorite ice cream flavors in.
What's your favorite ice cream, Nora? Is it chocolate?
Chocolate with vanilla.
Okay.
Vanilla. Oh, that's a good one. Hi, Jada. Oh, we've got multiple cookies and cream and cookie dough. I just want to point that out. Oh,
Favorite.
That's for me.
multiple vanillas also.
Elizabeth, do you want to say what's your favorite ice cream?
Yeah. Mama, look at that.
Birthday cake batter and strawberry. Oh, that's a good one. I always forget about strawberry.
Ooh, oat milk ice cream is great.
All right, if you haven't gotten to introduce yourself and you want to, let's make sure that happens in the next like 30 seconds to a minute. Ooh, oh, hi, Nora. Ooh, chocolate with vanilla. Yeah. Aida and Julian, you are strawberry cheesecake buddies.
Yay.
Yeah, that's a good, like, both fruit and like sweet stuff. Oh, Elizabeth, you have raised your hand. What's up?
I love mango ice cream.
Mango ice cream.
Oh, that's
Delicious.
a good one. Yum. Awesome.
Great.
All right. Well, I think we might be ready to get started. Awesome. So welcome to our first book talk of 2022. which sounds very weird, but we're really excited. This is our agenda for today. We start off by introducing ourselves, so you can check that off. We are going to share a tiny bit about Everybody Wins and the Junior League. And then our volunteers from the Junior League are going to share about some books that have really inspired them. And then afterwards, we get to ask some questions. We can share some of our books from home that we really love and want other people to know about. So just a fun way to start our weekend. So most of the folks on the call know about Everybody Wins. You guys know that we are focused on building a love of reading through book talks that introduce us to new kinds of books we might want to explore, through the book project where we can build our at-home libraries, and then of course through Power Readers, where our students sit down once a week with their volunteer mentors. They used to sit next to each other over lunch. Now they sit across the screen, but we're making it work so that we can build that weekly practice together. Aida, since you happen to be on this particular book talk, do you want to share a tiny bit about Junior League?
Sure. So I am the chair of the Done in a Day committee of the Junior League of Washington. And the Junior League of Washington is a women's organization that focuses on developing women leaders and volunteering in the community, especially working with literacy. And so we are really excited to work with Everybody Wins DC. This is exactly the kind of volunteering that we love to do. So thank you so much for having us here today.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Awesome. We're going to kick off our book talks. So Elizabeth, you are first. And Elizabeth, you work at the Federal Judicial Center, right?
Yeah, I work at the Federal Judicial Center, where I work on leadership training programs for our third branch of government, which is the judicial branch. So yeah, today, and I'm here to introduce actually a series of 4 books called the Song of the Lioness Quartet, which is a series by Tamara Pierce. And the first book is called Alana, the First Adventure. And the story is about the making of a hero and a very stubborn girl. Her name is Alana of Trebon, and she wants to be a knight in the realm of Tortal in a time when girls are forbidden to be warriors. But rather than give up her dream, she and her brother Tom, who wants to be a mage, not a knight, actually switch places. So she dresses up as a boy and becomes Alan, and Tom becomes a student wizard. So the quartet is about her struggle to achieve her goals and to master weapons and combat polite behavior, her magic, her temper, and her heart. And it's about friendships and with the heir to the throne, the king of the thieves, a wise and kindly knight, in her long struggle against a powerful enemy mage. Throughout the series, she sees battle as a squire and then as a knight. She lives among the desert people and rescues a princess. She is singled out by a goddess and accompanied by a semi-divine cat who has firm opinions. And somehow she survives all of her adventures and becomes a legend. I discovered this series in 6th grade, and I love this story about a girl who was breaking all of the rules to follow her dreams. I loved how she knew what she wanted in life and worked hard to achieve all of those things. And this book really inspired me in my life to take leaps of faith to achieve the things that I wanted. This book helps me to remember that sometimes when you're working towards a goal, there's a lot of challenges in the way and things can seem impossible. But if you keep focused and think creatively to solve problems, you can find success even if it doesn't look like the way you imagined it. And I don't have a copy of the book with me because I always check these books out from the library. I would read all of the books and then return them and then check them out over and over again because I love them so much. But I hope you'll check out this book and read books that inspire you too.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. I feel like Lana might have a question for you.
Sure, yeah.
Lana.
Is it about her dreams that she say of a princess? And,
Yeah,
and I like one, and I like her when she save a princess.
yeah, she saves the princess. It's really fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lana. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Love that that this is not just one book, but 4 books that people can read together. Awesome. Who is up next? Ooh, Lauren.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much to the Junior League for having me. So this book actually came out in the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, November 2020, when I decided to put all of my ideas together. I love children's books. I love to read. And when I was a little girl, I said, someday when I get older, I'm going to put together a bunch of children's books in addition to whatever it is I'm doing. So I put together this book, had no idea where it would go, what would happen to it. Shameless plug, and this past, June of 2021, it sold over 1,000 units, and it was actually honored at the New York Book Festival for honorable mention. Giraffes Don't Talk to Ants. And it actually, they did a special giveaway with the Washington School for Girls this past winter, and like a virtual story read as well. But the book takes place in South Africa, Zululand to be exact. And it is about a tribe of ants traveling from one end of the plain onto the next in the midst of an oncoming rainstorm. None of the ants have names, they don't have, so it symbolizes not having an identity. And they're all following one after the other. And it's about to rain though. The rain won't necessarily wash away a human, but if you're an ant, it turns into mud, you wash away. So they're kind of in danger. Ant number 42, he sticks out from the rest. He's the darkest ant in line. His antennas are a mess. And no one really listens to him because he just doesn't fit the mold. He's telling them, guys, we shouldn't go this way. It's about to rain. We're going to get washed up. And they're telling him to be quiet and to get back in line. We're following, the status quo. So ant number 42 goes, you know what? I don't think so. I'm not about to get washed up in this rain. So he sees a tall giraffe nearby chewing on a mopane tree, which is a native tree in South Africa. And he goes, I'm going to climb that tree and ask the giraffe to give us a safe ride. And all the ants say, giraffes don't talk to ants, especially not to you. Get back in line. Ant number 42 breaks free from the status quo, breaks free from his line, and he goes and climbs the tallest tree as the rain starts to fall. And he just keeps singing to himself, soon, free, free, free. Eventually he reaches the tallest branch, and just as the giraffe is about to eat the leaf with the ant on it, the little ant screams, wait, don't eat this leaf. Giraffe stops, he's startled, and he's like, well, who is this brave ant? What is your name? And the ant tells him all about his need, but he sadly says, I don't have a name. I wish I did, but I'm just ant number 42. The giraffe is so startled that he gives him a new name, Zulu, which translates into bravery in Zulu. The giraffe's name was Mulangisi, which translates into wisdom in Zulu, and he agrees to give the ant and all of his friends safe passage to the end of the plane. What makes the story so relatable, though, or so realistic, is that even after ant number 42, or little Zulu, gets help, and he goes to the other ants like, guys, I did it. At first, they kind of boo him. They're like, who are you to talk to a giraffe? Like, how dare you? They're not really even appreciative of the help, and it's like they can't conceptualize it yet. But once they learn about his new name and what it means and what it symbolizes, they start to think, well, you know what? Maybe we should get a new name too. We all want new names, kind of like a start over. So the giraffe Mulangisi says, okay, you all can get new names, but I have to know what makes you special. Are you smart, or are you cunning, or are you brave? Just like little Zulu. So they think about it, and at the end, they all get new names, and they learn that at number 42, or little do they, Lisa might say, was actually right. What's most important is not your size or your stature, but what's on the inside, your character, and they all get safe passage. And that is Terrace.
Lauren, I'm dying to know, what was Aunt 42's name that they chose?
Zilu Daily, which translates into bravery.
That's right. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Any big questions for Lauren? Okay.
So
That is
special to
very
have an
fun.
author of a book also be able to discuss it. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Awesome. Oh, Melanie, I recognize your pick.
Okay, so my pick was a Babysitter's Club series, which is a relatively long series, but my favorite book within the series is Christie's Great Idea. Backstory on the Babysitter's Club. For the first book, Christy and her friends are living in a fictional town called Stony Brook. And Christy gets the great idea to create a club that is centered around babysitting for the parents within the town. She recognizes that her mom wants to go out one night and she has a hard time finding a babysitter. So she comes up with this great idea together to create a club where they can give babysitting services to the town's parents. But they do encounter a lot of setbacks, competition, how to run a business, how to be successful, but at the end, they do overcome all of their hurdles. This was one of my favorite books growing up because I discovered the Babysitter's Club series when I was in the second grade in elementary school at the school book fair. I was really excited about it because it was like the first book that I read that was without pictures inside in all chapters. I enjoy reading. I've been reading since like 5 years old. The impact that it had on me was I was always interested in actually starting my own business because I always had great ideas that I would write down. So it came from this book after reading it is that particular winter, we had a horrible snowstorm, very similar to what we just encountered. And I was able to bring my friends together and we shoveled driveways. And we were very similar, had a lot of hurdles. There were a lot of things we didn't think about, but I actually really always went back to this book as a resource and went throughout my career. I've always kind of circled back to it because now as an adult, I actually started my own business as well as an event planner. So I work at Amazon as a senior financial analyst, which supports a relatively large business, but I branched off and started working as a wedding planner in the DC area and created my own business. So I always kind of attribute that back to reading this book and all of the different hurdles they faced. And it was always really, really inspiring because each book has a different theme. And this was my favorite, but there's over, I believe, 90 different books for the Babysitter's Club. And it touches on being different if you have a sickness. It touches on when someone moves away and you're sad and how to deal with it. And you just learn so much about friendship and drive and commitment and staying focused. And then at the end of the day, really, truly friends becoming family. So that was my pick for tonight.
Oh, wow. Melanie, you made me want to read all of them again.
And I can see in the chat, I know that the series is beloved, and kids today are picking up the series as well. So glad to hear that many people are enjoying the series.
Awesome. Great. Gonna have to put that on the list. Thank you so much, Melanie. Oh, yay, another series. Lisa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa. I'm an epidemiologist working at IBM Consulting on COVID research, and the book or series that made a big impact on my life was the Harry Potter series. The first book came out when I was just 7 years old, and it's a pretty big book, and it doesn't have pictures in it. And I wasn't so interested in reading at that time, but we started a family tradition where my mom would read the books to me and my siblings in the evening. And as the later books came out when I was older, I became able to read the books myself, but we would still always discuss them as a family. So even beyond just the content of the book, it was the tradition around the reading of the books that was very important to me, because it really got me to get excited about reading, not just Harry Potter, but books in general that didn't necessarily have pictures in them. Harry Potter, the content is also very special. And, there are movies now, but at the time when I was growing up, there were just the books. It's about a boy who was orphaned, and he's living with his relatives who are not kind to him. And he finds out on his 11th birthday that he is in fact a wizard, and he's not just any ordinary wizard. He has a very special history and is actually famous in the wizarding community. And once he comes into that community, he faces a lot of challenges and has he's tested many times and has a lot of adventures and faces a lot of danger as well. So there are a lot of themes around being discriminated against and overcoming adversity and the importance of friendship and bravery, and not necessarily doing what's easy, but doing what's right. And there are just a lot of wonderful themes and lessons to be learned from Harry Potter. And I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't read it yet. The movies are good, but the books are, you can't compare it to the books.
Harry Potter is life.
Harry Potter is life. The only other better thing to me is this little puppy bear. And that's my book. Thank you.
Aww. Oh, that is a sleepy pupper. Oh. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lisa. I'm sure we can tell just from the chat that there are a lot of Harry Potter fans. Very, very fun. Thank you. Oh, Scotty, I had not thought about this book in so long, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh, good. So this book is very special to me because the first time I ever heard of it, actually, I saw it on stage as a musical. And I became obsessed with both this book and music and musical theater. And so this book is actually set back in the late 1700s, early 1800s. And it's about a British nobleman, and he ends up married to a French woman at the height of the French Revolution. And he gets back to England with his new wife, and he's kind of like, that's not really how we treat people. And so he decides that he's gonna get people out of France so that they are safe. And by doing that, he puts on this very flowery persona so that people don't think that he is as smart as he is. And there's lots of adventure, and actually the wife kind of ends up rescuing the husband, which is always fun to see that. And I love this, and I love the musical and the book, and part of how it kind of inspired me in my life is a love of history. I've had a lifelong love of history, and I've been fortunate enough to study a lot of French history. And it's also just the independence of both the male protagonist and the female protagonist, or main characters, their independence, and looking at that, and that's what you want. You want to be independent and be able to stand on your own 2 feet and go on grand adventures. And I think that really comes out in this, as well as you always have to look underneath the surface. you don't ever want to stay surface level when you're talking to people and getting to know people, because you never know what's kind of lurking there underneath. And so one of the best things about this and how it kind of impacted my life was moving to DC and all of the history here and being able to see that. It's been really, really special to me. And I love this book. I can't speak more highly of it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Scotty. Do we have any other sort of, I guess this would be historical fiction, but it's kind of a historical mystery. I don't really know.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Any other historical fiction buffs on the call? Ah, okay. It was a hard no from Jen.
Just me.
Oh, thank you so much, Scotty. Oh, Aida. I'm very excited about this one.
Hi, everyone. So my book is The Kid Who Ran for President, and I've had this book for over 25 years. It has traveled with me to college, and from Florida to Colorado to this area, the DC area. And so it's a little beaten up. It's been in a lot of moving boxes, but I absolutely love this book. And even to this day, I probably read it at least once a year. I'm a big reader and I love this book. So the book is The Kid Who Ran for President, and it's set in 1999. And the basic idea is Judson Moon. He and his best friend Lane were talking about what was happening in the world and what was going on in the United States at the time. And Judson joked around and said, I should run for president. And his best friend Lane said, yeah, you should. Why not? And Judson was joking, but his best friend Lane was one of the smartest people he knew. And he had this whole idea in his head that he could make it happen, that he could get him on the ballot and he could get a constitutional amendment going so that he could run for president. Because to be president of the United States, you have to be 35 years old. And he's a kid. I think he was 12 years old. And so, yeah, he is 12 years old. So he decided to run for president. And through the book, you learn all about the whole process of how he got onto a ballot, how he gets people to support him and to support his party, and how he raises money. And it's all about what started as a joke turned into a little bit of, well, there are things that are happening in the world that I'd like to change. And so I really loved that messaging. And just like a little short blurb. It's really so a funny book. It's not really, it's serious, but it's also really funny. So just gonna read like a little section. Hi, my name is Judson Moon, and I'm 12 years old, and I'm running for the president of the United States. That's how I introduced myself to about a zillion people last year. I must have kissed a zillion babies, said a zillion hellos, shaken a zillion hands. I got a lot of votes. Enough to make me president of the United States? Well, you can peek at the last page of the book and find out. Or you can read this book and get the whole story. Me? I'd read the book, but hey, it's your choice. It's a free country, right? And then, so I did not peek the first time I read the book. I didn't. But when you finish the book, you're going to get to the last page, obviously. And I don't know if you could see it, but in the last page, it says, you peeked. Nice try. That was pretty clever, going straight to the back of the book to see how the story turned out. But you don't want to spoil the ending for yourself, do you? Now go back to the beginning and read the whole thing. There are no shortcuts in life. And I love that messaging. And when I first read it, in my head, I thought, you know, it's true. If you don't like something, it's not enough to just say you don't like it or to complain. It's also good to do something about it. And so at a very young age, I said, I wanted to work for the government. I wanted to help make changes. I wanted to help make things better. So since 8 years old, have wanted to work for the government, which isn't a normal thing that kids at 8 years old say. Most 8-year-olds will say they want to be a teacher, a doctor, police officer, firefighter, lawyer even. I wanted to work for the government and help make things better for the rest of the people in the country. And that's kind of what I do now. I work for the government, working with refugees. And this book just was really a very positive book, and also reminds you of not forgetting who you are while you're trying to get ahead and move and make your goals happen. To be yourself and to never forget about the people in your life that you really care about. So that's my book.
I was excited to hear that this made you want to work for the government, and inspired you at such an early age. Can anybody else on the call connect with that idea? Yeah, seen a lot of nods. Cool. Thank you, Aida. Well, I think we are down to our last and final book, and it's an oldie but goodie. Brooke, you want to take it away?
Yes, absolutely. So Shel Silverstein is one of my favorite authors. I love his collection of poems, Where the Sidewalk Ends as well. And so this book is The Giving Tree, like you mentioned, an oldie but a goodie. So it's a story about a little boy in a tree, and the little boy grows up running around the tree and swinging from her branches and eating the apples and hanging out in the shade. When I first read it, I picture like a big tree in my front yard at my house, and just how you climb trees with your friends or your siblings. But this little boy didn't climb with his friends or siblings. He climbed and he talked to the tree, and he loved the tree, and he carved his initials in the tree, and he put him in the tree and a heart carved into the tree. And so he had a great relationship and a fondness with the tree. And then as he grew up, he would go back to the tree when he needed things, and the tree was always there for him. And so, if he needed apples so that he could sell them to make money, or if he needed branches so he could build a house, the tree was always there. And so he would go back, and it kind of represented, a safe place and a support system. And then eventually he is an old man, and he comes back to the tree, and he's taken everything from the tree, and it's just a stump. And the tree, the whole time, the whole book, every time the little boy comes, the tree says that it's happy to give whatever the little boy needs. And at the end of the book, the tree says that it's sad because it has nothing else to give the little boy. And at this point, the little boy is a very old man. Think like your grandpa or somebody. And the old man says, all I want is somewhere to sit and rest. And at that point, because the tree was just a stump, that's exactly what the tree could give him. And so he sat down on the tree stump and he rested, and the tree was happy again. And I think one of the biggest things about this book that really stuck with me throughout all of life is just that it's always better to give than it is to receive. And that our gifts, while sometimes we might not know what our gifts are, we might think that our gifts are not helpful or that they're not useful right now. You don't ever know what somebody else is needing. And so your gifts might be exactly what they need. So I think the biggest things to remember that we are all special, and we all have our own talents and gifts that we get to bring to our classrooms or our families or our friendships, and that whatever gifts we have, that those things they're special, and that they were given to you and like on purpose, and that the world needs to know what your gifts are. And so continue to give and continue to help others, and to know that you are special. And that is my book and why I love it so much.
Oh, thank you, Brooke. I saw Elizabeth and I think her little sibling break into a big grin as soon as your book came on the screen.
I'm so glad. It's a great one. Elizabeth, have you read this book before?
You read this book before?
No.
No.
It's a good one.
We'll have to check it out. Yeah, we're preschool. I don't know if it's age appropriate, but yeah, thanks for the book recommendations, everybody. Thank you. everybody.
Very fun. Awesome. Well, I know we are getting close to time. So before we wrap up, we just wanted to open up for discussion. I know a lot of our volunteers have talked about how their books related to their work and to their life. We've heard a lot about kind of some lessons they've walked away with. I was wondering for our students on the call, what's one new book that you learned about today that you were the most excited about? And we've excited some folks about The Giving Tree. Harry Potter isn't exactly new, but I now want to go back and find my copies. Ooh, Murray, thank you. We have a book recommendation. So if you like Harry Potter, you might like The Unwanteds. Oh, pardon me, just Unwanteds. Murray, do you want to tell us a little bit about why we might like Unwanteds? I'm curious. No, okay, got it. Not for today. Unmuting is challenging sometimes. Raven, do you want to tell us why X-Men is something that you're recommending to everyone?
I like it because once you finish the book, you can watch the actual shows of it. So that's the funny thing. And it's a comic book, and I really like reading comic books, and it's also funny too.
Oh, so it's adventure plus a little bit of humor. That's nice. A mix of both. Awesome. What are some other types of books that you guys wish we had talked about?
I have one.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Fish.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a little 30-second overview about why people might like it?
So the Rainbow Fish is really beautiful visually, especially if you have little ones. It really keeps their attention because, so the story is about a fish. Oh, look, paradise. The story is about a fish that has all these beautiful scales and all the other fish in the water, an octopus too, I think. They want one of his scales. And initially the fish is just like, no, you can't have my beautiful scales. This is the only thing that makes me unique. And so he keeps the scales, but he doesn't have very many friends. And so he's thinking about it. And one little fish kind of doesn't leave him alone or give up on him. He still says, I really want a scale and I want to be your friend. Can we think about it? So after a while, the rainbow fish thinks about it, and he actually ends up giving everyone one scale so that everyone ends up with one beautiful shiny scale each. And then he kind of learns that that whole thing of it's better to give than to receive, and that you're more than just your outer. It's like what's on the inside that counts. And it's just a really beautifully illustrated book. And if you have little ones, it has it's just so glittery and shiny. It's really good to keep their attention. One of my favorites growing up.
Oh, thank you. That's definitely one that I have a copy of. Oh man, Raven, we'd love for you to share about Paradise really quickly. And then we have one quick poll question to ask everybody about next time.
Well, it's not, the Paradise Fire is about this town that gets caught by a fire, and it's called the Paradise Fire. And at the end, they're trying to rebuild everything.
Oh, wow. Was that inspired by a true story?
I don't really know, but my brother's reading it.
Oh, interesting.
And I
Neat.
learned about it in school.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, another great recommendation. Thank you, Raven, and thank you to your brother. Great. Well, I know it is getting close to dinner time for most folks. So before we go, I just wanted to ask folks on the call, what are some types of books you would like to learn about next time? You should be able to answer that poll if you would like to on your screen. This just helps us plan ahead. And so your choices are history and historical fiction, mystery, science fiction, biography, science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, and then adventure and fantasy. Looks like a lot of folks would like to hear about some new adventure and fantasy titles next time. Duly noted. Awesome. All right. Our poll is going to close in 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks for your feedback, guys. Noted. Adventure and fantasy. Awesome. Any other questions before we wrap up? Thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers for sharing their book picks today. Everyone have a safe and hopefully warm weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
You guys.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Oh, goodbye, pupper.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Lana, are you still there, hon? All right, I think it might be time to